Menus. Yeah, there it is. Bring you down there. Put it up there. Alright, I'm going to Sim Toolkit Pro. We're already set up a schedule. Type in the aircraft. Call sign because it requires me to type something in there. Tell it to generate the plan. Alright. It's basically doing direct. Interesting. Approximately 40-minute flight. Yeah, what's that? 3.6. I'm going to do. Yeah, I know for 3.6. Yeah, export this. For X-plane. Then hit fly now. Now, what else is it saying? Flight level 250. Alright. Okay. I'll load that into active sky as well so I get the correct weather. Alright. Now, well, apparently I've got too much fuel on board to take one of my assignments. Ah well, they can stay here. Ready to go. Are we there yet? We're just starting. Go ahead and start the flight. Load all the passengers in. Thank you for the host, Primus NZ. Close the door. Turn on the electrics again. Wait for the garments to start up. Oops. What happened? Yeah, press the any key. And go up here. I can turn on the boost pump. Yeah, the gauges are up. Let's turn on the starter. Clear these warnings. Now, I've got to wait for the ITT to get below 150 and the NG above 13 in order to start the engine when it's warm. If I introduce the fuel with the ITT too high, it'll overtemp the thing. $150, 140, I'll introduce the fuel. Clear the warning.
System test, okay.
All you heard from that was explosions. Is my mic peaking, is it? Try that. Alright, started. Boost pump to auto, fuel sector auto, turn on the electric trims. Turn on the inertial separator. I just starting the engine over 150 and over temping. Yeah. This aircraft model for X-plane does simulate damage to the aircraft, and I forgot to bring the engine up to high idle before turning the air conditioner on. Now I can turn it on. It'll simulate damage to the compressors or turbine blades or who knows what. It's a very detailed simulation. And you go in here and you look at the temperatures for the engine, and that's all of the temperatures and stresses that it's simulating. Even things like a starter body, it's got a temperature for. Alright, come down here and I need to load the flight plan in. I saved it out of the other one, KSGF-KLIT. That's the one. And zoom out slightly. Now, what runway has it got? Runway 14. Heading of 140 is set. I'm going to need some charts to find my way there. Set the flaps to their takeoff position. Set the trims to take off. There you go, rudder trim and takeoff. And pitch trimmer in the green. Alright, runway 14, yep, that's correct. Show me my charts for this airport. And bring up Navigraph charts here. There we go. And the taxi chart. I'll zoom in on that. Runway 14, it's the same one I landed on. Right, release the brakes. Taxi light is on. I've already cycled the prop for today. It only has to be done on the first flight of the day. Bring up the flight director to the 10 degrees nose up position. And I need to select flight level 250. Now I need to go down to the Delta taxiway to get across to runway 14. Flight level 250 is set. No ATC for today, so I can just clear myself all the way out. We're VAT simming now. And that's why I'm just clearing myself all the way up to flight level 250. I'm not on VAT sim or any other third-party air traffic control. And the default ATC in X-Plane is even worse than the default ATC in any of the other simulators, so... Right, clear left, clear right. Go ahead and turn on the strobe lights. I'm crossing a taxiway. I should use this aircraft on VATSIM more. Because I have a lot more stability in the way the sim runs when I use this one. It's not as complicated, even though it's simulating almost every system in the aircraft, so don't know how they manage that. Now the pressure for takeoff, 3039. Go ahead and make sure that's set. I'm going to take off from the hotel holding point. Gonna head off and see if we can finish this 5-hour flight. No worries, thanks for stopping by. And good luck with the landing. Alright. Turn left onto hotel, or turn on the pitot heat. Turn on the pulse light and strobe light. All clear on final. Yeah, just lost avionics. Oh, that's annoying. You had more than one glitch crossing the date line. Right, increasing the power. Bring it onto the prop governor smoothly. Then bring the torque up to 100. Hopefully while staying on the center line and not over torquing it. 20 knots, 80 knots, rotate. No available runway remaining, gear coming up. 200 feet, bring the flaps up and tracking. Slightly right, we're correcting. Now I want to climb out 124 knots. 124, flight level change engaged. And I'll engage nav mode as well. Let the aircraft fly its way to the destination. Close this. Get the map so you can actually see it. That map's not very useful when when it's basically sending me on a direct route. I might change it to this one. Yeah, landing without avionics is definitely a test. Are we there yet? 4,000 feet, flight level 250. I think it's got an estimated time thing up the top, doesn't it? Which is, what's this saying now? 1 hour 30. It'll be shorter than that. Can we stop for ice cream? I think we just picked up ice cream. Now, someone remind me when I'm starting the approach to start the landing competition. .124 knots, it's climbing nicely. Waiting for the torque to get down to below about 80%, and then I'll turn off the inertial separator. Because as you turn off the inertial separator, the torque arises. So instead of having to reduce the power to keep it from over torquing, I tend to wait for the torque to drop to 80 and then turn off the inertial separator while it's climbing. Then I don't have to touch the power lever for as long. I can just leave it sitting for 10 minutes instead of moving it every 2 minutes. Might as well be talking another language. Yeah. I do nerd out about this stuff a bit. %. Turn off the inertial separator. The inertial separator is a flap in the air intake that makes it very hard for ice or stones or birds to get actually into the engine. They just fly out the back of the engine instead of going through the whole engine. But because it's affecting the air intake, then when it's on, the engine runs hotter and doesn't produce quite as much power. So when I turn it off, I have to be careful of what power setting I've set it to so I don't over torque it. How is he gonna make nuggets? They're very expensive nuggets. Sent it through a $700,000 engine or something? I'm not paying for that. 9,500. Go ahead and turn off taxi light and pulse light now. So you can turn on the noise cancelling headset. You should have seen the movie Sully. I haven't actually. I've seen clips of it, and I know what it's about. I haven't actually seen the whole movie. Not sure why, I just never gotten around to it. I hit the geese. Yeah, sounds good. I think I was gonna watch it with one of my friends, and then the moment when he's in another state and we can't watch it together yet. Something like that, I think. Double-ended bird strike, and then he landed in the Hudson River. The only passenger, or the only jet to have ever successfully ditched. And I accidentally over-torqued slightly. Look how sensitive my throttle quadrant is. Now, turn down the exterior sound a little bit, and then I can go into orbit view. It's only because the A320 is so computer controlled. Wouldn't let Sully steer as aggressive as he wanted. Could well be part of that, yeah. That's a whole can of beans, that computer controlled thing. Because in that case you can very clearly see that it helped. And you get another crash at an air show when the 320 first came out, and the pilot was blaming the system for it. But yeah, I think it really helped him on that one. Able to keep the plane within its tolerances while the pilot's asking it to do things that it might not necessarily be within its tolerance. Computers don't make mistakes, people do. Yes. Oh yeah, it was definitely pilot error on that one, but he ended up, he really didn't like the fact that when he asked the plane to pull up, it didn't and just flew straight into trees. If it had have pulled up, it probably would have stalled and gone into the ground just before the trees, but the sense of being disconnected and watching the trees coming towards you wouldn't have been nice for him. Now, is it giving me an estimated time dropping? Yeah, it is dropping. As the plane gets higher and higher and gets, well, the ground speed goes up as well. 168 knots at the moment. Increase the torque slightly. What's that? 92. Yeah, computers always do what they're told, don't they? Miss a semicolon and the entire program gets confused. 15,600 feet. I'll go to standard pressure now. We are climbing through the transition altitude. I'm doing INAV 36 at the arrival, I think. Yeah, it is. I'm going to go ahead and load into Navigraph. The arrival. No star procedures approach. INAV for 36. Yeah, that'll do boxy. And no star procedures, it's alright. Wait, what's that? Backsy? Yeah, wherever they say that. I'm gonna bring this back to the aircraft. Go ahead and get this ready as well. Not gonna activate it yet though. And F36. Load. That level 215 for 250. Did you get to look into that shared cockpit a bit more, Primus? I haven't actually loaded it up with the simulator yet. I haven't launched the game since the last time I streamed it. Fair enough. No worries, I'll look into it sometime, I just haven't gotten around to it yet. I launched the game to have a look at the FMC on the fly-by-wire A320, but I didn't actually load up the shared cockpit and everything. It's aircraft like this that keep me in X-plane at the moment still. It's the quality of the aircraft. The scenery is a lot better in the other one, but the aircraft, the add-on developers haven't made the same aircraft for it yet. They're working on it, but they haven't made the higher quality aircraft, so it kind of keeps me in the simulators I've already got, where I've got those aircraft for now, and then we'll move over as I get them in the other sim. Alright, it's leveling out at flight level 250. Just gonna watch the torque as it levels out. Make sure it doesn't over torque. I'll go ahead and put an altitude in here to make sure I've got it calculating top of descent for me. Well, now I need... That's all approach here. It's 2,800 feet. Interesting altitude it wants to select, but go ahead and do that. It'll give me a rough top of descent. 6 minutes. Not a very long flight, is it? It's longer than the other one was, though. What's the time? 6 minutes, so it'll be 5:08 when I have to get back in and start the descent. Got a nice lake off the left there. Interesting sound dynamics. I hadn't actually noticed it goes almost silent when it's behind and below the aircraft. What speed are we actually doing at the moment? Got 300 knots ground speed. Tell you what, promise, when we stop at the next airport, you can get your ice cream. Get it ordered and delivered to the airport. Sure. It's another relatively large airport, so there should be a passenger terminal. I haven't actually looked at the chart for it yet. Open charts. Taxi. Door info. Alright, where's the best spot to park? Only 3-6, so we'll park up here somewhere. FBOs are down here. Alright, so about halfway back. Pull into one of these FBOs. Patch of grass. Fair enough. We got to drop the passengers off and pick up the other passengers that are getting on the plane now, so... Passengers can just jump the fence. Well, FSEconomy will let me offload and load passengers without shutting off the engine, so... Alright. Coming up on top of descent within a minute. Go ahead and set... I think it was actually 3,000. Yeah, 3,300 is where I want to go to. For the start of the approach, so I'm going to set 3,300. Jump to the fence, I was more thinking, well, wasn't it opening the door and checking them out? Well, altitude. Parachute out of a pressurized aircraft. There's an idea. Activate VNav pass so it can capture and start the descent for me. But I don't have auto throttle in this aircraft, so I'll reduce the power. That'll do. Didn't think about parachutes. Well, nowadays you got aircraft that have entire airframe parachutes on them. What are my conditions for the arrival? No wind. Pressure 3049. Okay. Spamming caps. Wow. I'm surprised it was upset about that. I would have thought it'd take like 50 caps before it timed somebody out. No parachutes. Where are the settings here? Yeah, the maximum amount of caps is 50. Oh, but it's got a percentage on then. Hang on. Okay, I think that should fix it. It had a percentage of capital letters, so if you did all capital letters, then it would be upset, even though it's less than 50 capital letters. Hopefully that's fixed it. Yeah. Backwards. The boss is discriminating against biologicals. Yeah, seems like it. Just altered its settings. Also, I couldn't figure out how to whitelist of words, so I'm not sure if it was going to complain about the Airbus commands to the pilot when you land. It's got a blacklist, it doesn't have a whitelist. Ah, it does complain about it. That's funny. Why does it not have a blacklist? Not have a whitelist? And just turn off the default blacklist. There we go. And then I'll have to add words to it as they come up. I'm gonna have to see if there's someone's put in a suggestion for that so they can add a whitelist to it. There you go. Go ahead and activate the approach now that the aircraft start flying towards its initial fix. It'll also adjust its vertical path to the new point at the start of the approach. We're back, no worries. Coming back down through 18,000 feet, 30.49. Yeah, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That's 50. 30.49. There we go. On the pressure. All right. Alright, go ahead and get the taxi diagram pinned so I can open it quickly. There we go. Make sure I reduce the power as it's descending. Don't want to over torque it. I'll leave that on the current zoom level for now. Interesting, so it deleted all of the messages, not just the one. Interesting reflection. Our approach course is 002. Minimum descent altitude of 760 feet. We're only doing 50 knots, I don't want to go quite that fast. Use the power a bit more, I'll go to 65 or so. Just approach, climbing right turn, 2700 direct, high 5. And then hold. Alright, I'll go ahead and open up the landing prediction. There you go. 92 feet a minute. Well, based on the last one, that might be a good guess. Who knows? We'll see how we go on this one. In general, I land this plane better than a 737 though, so... Alright. So we're coming up to Baxi. I want to be there at 3,300. 3,300 at FEC. However you want to say that. FEHXE. We're descending 2,000 to Cagby and then flying the wide slope down to the field. Minimum 760, 4002, and missed approach, climbing right turn to 2,700 feet, direct high 5, which is up here. And then hold there. Zoom in on the GPS a little bit. All right. We have 5,300 feet. Got to bring the torque back to about 40%. Let the aircraft start slowing down. And I'll turn on the inertial separator as well. Right. And almost a caution for the inertial separator. I was expecting that, so we'll go ahead and clear it. Sending to 5,000 feet. Clear left. Plane will commence its turn shortly. There we go.
Vertical track.
1,000 feet to go. The airport's up there somewhere. Can't actually see it right now. And coming up on 3,300 feet at whatever how are you supposed to say that? Hey, it's interesting. It's actually brought up the glide path indicator, so I'll just arm the approach and let it fly down that. Yeah, the course for this is 002, so I'll go ahead and set that on the heading. If I stay at 40% torque, the aircraft will slow down just nicely under the gear and flap speed. Which it's already under. And I should have turned on the pulse light and taxi light earlier. Yeah, well, I'll turn them on now. Waiting for the glide slope to come alive. There we go, it's alive. 2 dots above. 1 dot above, I'll extend the gear and the approach flaps. 1 dot above, below 178, gear coming down, approach flaps set. Starting to capture the glide slope, reduce the power to 25% torque. Where's the runway? There it is. We're going to be turning left off the runway to head to the FBO. Alright, how's the airspeed doing? 134 knots. And reducing. I want to stay at 25 or just under % on the power. Turn up the sound again. "92 feet per minute. Let's see how we go. "2,000 feet. Oh, it's actually got a radar altitude here. 1,550 on the radar altitude. What's the wind doing? Yeah, it's 0. $122 knots. So 120 shortly. But 120 going to landing flaps. Let the aircraft adjust to that. $100 knots. So minimums was 760 feet. 100. Yeah, I've got visual with the runway anyway. Alright. Just disconnect the autopilot. And I'll fly it in myself. And I'll turn off the flight director. Got some trees on the approach path. Interesting. Managed to stay on the glide slope even though we're dodging trees, okay. And coming over the threshold, back to flight idle.
Airspeed. Getting slow.
54 feet a minute. That's even better. Reverse thrust. Yeah, we'll turn off to the left here. And then I better bring up my ground map. There we go. So if we go to the right, go ahead and turn off the strobe light and the pulse light. Don't need that. Retract the flaps. Turn off the pitot heat. It was close. What do you guess? What was it? 38 feet per minute off. So, supposedly that big hangar there is an FBO. Oh no, not that one. This one. Oh, it looks more like an FBO than the other one did. Okay, that King Air's tail is very close to this line, so I'm going out this way. Stop looking at the light switches. There we go. I'll just park here, set the parking brake, clear the warning. Fuel light off, turn off the boost pump, turn off the auto fuel selector. Clear the warnings that come up from that, turn off the air conditioner. And I'll turn off the inertia separator and shut off the engine. And clear all of the continued warnings. Alright. Turn off the electrics. Now I'll go ahead and open up the passenger and cargo doors. And then finish the flight, let the passengers off. There we go, now you can go get your ice cream. Fair enough. For that flight, I'll get the aircraft ready to go back. Schedule. Third leg for the day. Which is going to be the reverse of the flight that I just flew. Building all the maps. There we go. Go for the R914 again. Export that for X-Plane. Fly now, so it updates all of the overlays and everything. Priorities. Fair enough. On.